Hi everybody, welcome again to another program of Yeshiva Classroom, and we're here every week, every day on the internet at the same time. So today we have a real special guest. He happens to be a good friend of mine, and his name is Dr. Moshe Glick, Dr. Moshe Aaron Glick. He has one name, not a Chinese name, an American name, but one name, Dr. Moshe Aaron Glick, and he has offices in the Bronx and Riverdale in implant dentistry. So he's a doctor of dentistry. And I want to tell you that that is more like a sideline, because most of his time he is learning and gives classes in Torah and Gemara. You can catch him on Zoom. Can they? What's this thing here for?
Yeah,
can they catch him? Can they catch anybody?
Anybody can catch. Just call Yeshiva Classroom. We'll give you the login information.
So the point is, before I give him over to you, I want to say a few words. And one thing that we have to realize is that there is a great disparity between what is happening in the yeshiva world in regards to the graduates. And the Pew study shows that 3 out of 4 of the graduates of day schools are leaving the fold, in that they are not Shomer Shabbos, and it's a frightening statistic. Even though we may see all of these beautiful pictures of yeshiva kids and what they're learning, it's at a young age, but when they get older, there are many of them are leaving the fold. So I want to impress upon you that even though we may have a lot of children and grandchildren that are observant and professional and serious about Torah, there are many of us that are not aware of the fact that they have friends and neighbors, and even amongst our own selves. If it's 3 out of 4 that are not observant, that I'm sure you know of someone in your family, extended family, or a neighbor or a friend. And I want to tell you something, that the yeshivas need to be to understand that they have to buckle down and find a solution. To find a solution to the problem. And one thing that I want to bring out, this is not the time to delve into every little detail of education, but one thing I want to point out to you is that the rabbis, B'li Ayin Hara, are beautiful, learned, teaching, and they give over a lot of Torah, but they're not giving it over so that the people can repeat it. And that's what's so important. And how do you get kids to repeat what they learn? Very simple. Forget about the parent-teacher conferences and everything, all that stuff. Let them email a kasher, teretz, to their parents every week. That's their test. I don't need graduations, I don't need anything. But I want the children to work and to use their head and to think, to come out with a kasha and a teretz that they can give over to a loved one, to a friend, to a parent. Because I have come across people that are graduates with great marks, and even went to Israel and they got great marks. They don't understand the kasha and the teretz. And basically what they give is musar. What is musar? Musar is education. But it tells you the fear, love of God is important. But the basic thing is to gain an appreciation of learning Torah. Again, let me repeat that. To gain an appreciation of learning Torah. You may have ideology you may like. You may like the Chumash and read it together, back and forth, the center of the week. But we need to know that our children are working. And how do we get it? They're to send you an email on some very short thought that they did during the week, to give it to their parent. and that is something that we have to elaborate on. But because we have this guest here,
Okay.
Dr. Glick, he I don't know what he wants to do. He talks about, he has a Mishnayos, that he has a group that they learn 2 Mishnayos a day, and at the bottom of it, they can, to tell you what they learned, the Mishnah, for example, will give you 2 cows eating a loaf of bread. And that's to represent the Mishnah that they learned from the cow from one chutzner to the next chutzner, and they have that in little picture forms they can fill out. Okay. Now I want to give them to you and expand on that, and also to give you some a Gemara.
All right, I appreciate it. I want to thank my agent for booking this gig. We're down in Boca Raton, Florida, having a great time visiting Bubby and Champ. And I know Champ is very passionate about lots of ideas that he has to increase Torah knowledge. What he mentioned about we do this program called 2 Mishnayos a day. It takes about 6 years to finish the entire Shishay Sidrei Mishnah, all 6 sections of the Mishnayos. And what we do is we have a group, and what Champ was referencing is on WhatsApp, we have a group of about 20-something people right now, and growing. If you're interested in joining the group, there's your number, give them a call. We'll add you to the group. And in a way that we all kind of motivate each other and check in with each other that we've done the Mishnayos, we find an interesting emoji. It's actually a lot of fun. You take an emoji, some picture that referenced to something that was connected to the Mishnayos for that day. So we happen to be in Masechtas Eruvin right now. Eruvin is boundaries, how people can carry or different ways to combine areas so that somebody's able to carry, because that's one of the 39 prohibited malachos, are carrying things. So there's something called Eruv Chatzeros, which is a way, back in the day, without getting too technical, houses would empty into courtyards and then would empty into alleyways, and there was certain procedures that people would have to do. They would all form a joint chutzner, or a joint courtyard. They would all contribute a certain amount of food, and therefore everybody was a partner, so therefore everyone was able to carry amongst. So Champ was happened to be referencing one of the Mishnayos, and we all try to come up with a cute emoji that references that Mishnah. So
yeah, it's good what you said, and I always find it interesting and important to go back and sort of highlight the points that you spoke about, for instance, to repeat them, because, you know, I mean, somebody not glued to the TV or to the internet, and you want to say over again what you...
Okay. About the Mishnayos? About the
the Mishnah. Go to the Gemara after this. Some people are going to like Mishnayos. You got to grow into it until you love it. I love ideology. I love Rabbi Miller. I love Rabbi Sachs.
Yeah, right. I love you.
Yeah.
So
this is Junior. This is my son.
Yeah. So,
okay. And he's a rabbi, a gabbai of the shul.
Not really.
But basically, he has a large clinic dental practice.
It's not about clinic. My Champ is my greatest advocate. But whatever he said, you know, divide it by 10, and every parent is proud of their children.
We're learning a Torah program.
Yeah, we have that's great. We have a program that we're running right now called Kulanu. You can check it out. Kulanu 613 KULANA 613.org. Any children that are not currently studying in yeshiva, if you're a high school student and you do not have access to a yeshiva education, we have a partnership with NCSY. We have a partnership with Torah University, where you're able to get college credits. You're able to get college credits for doing an online curriculum. It's one of them is Journeys Through Jewish History with Dean Abramson. Really fascinating. You should check him out. Dean Abramson, Henry Abramson. He's on YouTube. He's got about 8 million views or some ridiculous number. Really, really good stuff. He's leading the curriculum for one of them. Other opportunities to learn Hebrew language. A lot of public high school kids have a requirement for a foreign language, so they have the ability to learn Hebrew, and we infuse it through some Torah sources, so it's a great way to get both the Torah education as well as get college credits.
Credits, right?
Yes,
they can get credits for the college while still in high school.
High school, correct. Very inexpensive. Nobody's turned away for financial. It's so yeah, we welcome anybody. If you have any interest, You can dial 561-482-1298.
That's a temporary number for the next couple of weeks.
That's the temporary, that's the Florida base of Yeshiva Classroom, but we're on the World Wide Web at Yeshiva Classroom. Google search Yeshiva Classroom. You can get lots of really, really good episodes. So I think everybody, it was funny, I was in Boca Raton today. I was actually at the pool. Older gentleman came over to me, and he said it was a difficult. I'm not going to go through his whole story, but his wife passed away about 2 years ago. His son is religious. He says religion is not for me. He's a good Jew in his heart. And we spoke. I had an opportunity to talk to him. I said, no, only God can judge who's religious. And everybody, I'm learning Rav Nachman of Breslov, who's really, really fascinating stuff. And no matter what point you are in your lifetime, everybody has the opportunity. Whatever happened in the past was the past. You can't change that. The future will be the future, but everybody has an opportunity to grab a mitzvah, do a good deed, learn something. Everybody, there's so many resources between ArtScroll, the internet. Take 10 or 15 minutes out of your day. Pick something learning, which will be for eternity. So many people just fritter away the day on nonsense, cards or TV or whatever it is. Okay, everybody needs some relaxation time, but if you take 10 or 15 minutes, a little something will really enhance both your neshama, will feel it, that soul food, as Champ has talked about in the past. Soul food, that's food for the soul. You get a good feeling, that's feeding your soul what it really wants to have. And it just,
I want to tell you that
I actually have to go because I'm flying back tonight. I got to leave very soon. It's been a great.
Look, you wouldn't let the people down.
They want you. You're the superstar. I'm just a guest. I'm just a guest.
We went to breakfast today, and there's an old friend. You face the camera. Old friend Henry, and he's an attorney, retired, and talking, he said, you remember when we were kids, my father was crazy about the opera. And he had opera, and he would listen to that. And Henry didn't have one iota interest in that. Nothing did he care about. They were playing ball and everything else. Now, after all these years, he loves opera. He takes his daughter to the opera. He's crazy about opera. Now, why is that? I mean, this is proof that you're getting something from your parents, and sometimes I feel the most important thing you can be given over to you is the feeling of spirituality, of wanting to be close to Torah and these things, and this is what we have at. This is I'm not smarter than anybody else, but I happen to have a soul that was a little bit stronger in spirituality. Some people are strong in mechanics or scholarly or singing or whatever. But God gave me, and together with my parents, that drive for spirituality. And I could see that here, my son, he went to day school, but how's he going to be similar to me? I mean, if the chip off the old block, I mean, a big chip, better than the block. And he goes out and learns. He gives a shir. Do you want to give a shir in Gemara or whatever now for a few minutes?
I don't have time. I really have to go, but I really appreciate you putting me on your show today. I hope it continued success, and keep trying, even if you just reach one person that's done a little something every day.
Maybe we can get him before he leaves the house to say goodbye. But the point is that we want to talk about today something very important, and that is covenants. The covenants, Beris. And Abraham went into a detail about the covenant that was made with God. How was it so? I mean, in chapter 15 in Exodus, he speaks about that, where God promised him the land of Israel, the land of Canaan. Chapter 15, many places in the Torah, but it delineates the boundaries and the borders. So when a person gives you a object, you have to make a kinyan. You have to pick it up or do some act to acclaim the acquisition of what transpired. And so it is with Abraham. Abraham was dealing in a bris. He was making a covenant, and God told him to separate 3 calves, 3 goats, and 3 rams, and 2 pigeons, each facing each other. And what happened? Abraham, this is in a dream, this is a vision in a dream. Abraham passed through that. How did he pass through it? This is my own shot, in a fiery torch simulating the generations when they will be fire and brimstone for God and the land of Israel, and other generations where they are just a fiery, or just a smoking furnace, not that strong in their commitment and love of the land and the Torah. So I found that interesting, in that he's actually making a kinyan. He's acquiring the land from God, and by doing making a kinyan, passing through the 2 pieces of brism, the covenant between the pieces, and he made a covenant, and that's the covenant he made with God. And there's 2 other covenants that I want to speak about. After they came out of Egypt, God said to the Jewish people that if you listen to my words and you observe the covenant that Abraham taught you, then you will be a nation of priests. Then you will be a nation of priests. So that's what happened. The Jews said, Nasa, we will do. And God led them to Mount Sinai, where they received the 10 Commandments orally given. 10 Commandments orally given. And in addition to that, it says, that's in chapter 20 in Exodus, 21 to 24, all kinds of oral Torah, responsibility, liability, and all of that pertain to between man and man, torts and the oral law, and 24/7 in Exodus it says over there that ascend to the mountain, I will give you the stone tablets with their engravings and the commandments, the oral law, and the written Bible, the written Torah. So he got all of this at Sinai, and that was, God told him to make a covenant there, right? Number 2 covenant. How so? That he was to write this in a book. It's called Sefer HaBris. Check it out in Exodus chapter 24. Sefer HaBris. And with these words, he's to read them, the book, and he is to form with these words to seal a covenant. And then there's another covenant that was made in in Exodus. Excuse me, yeah. Let's see where that is in. Excuse me, that's in Deuteronomy in chapter 29. 29, and over there. God had the people pass into the covenant. Again, that's 29:13. pass into the covenant those that are standing here with me and the future generations. Pass into the covenant with with their imprecations. With their imprecations, meaning the curses, if they do not live by these rules. And the first 14 sentences in 29 say that there will be an idyllic life, peace and happiness, if you observe the commandments. And from 15 on, there are 98 curses. There will be no rest for the sole of your feet, and if you disobey these rules. And that's what happened. They say, oh, in America we have it safe. But look what happened in America. We go from Williamsburg to Brownsville, East New York, Auburn, New Lots, Rockaway. And by the way, we mentioned Rockaway, and then the 5 towns, they say, wow, you know, this is it, no one's going to bother us here, we'll have peace, peace, peace. No. The anti-Semitism, how do you stop anti-Semitism? We'll make laws. No, why should there be anti-Semitism? My son, who was just here, tells us, and I saw it on the internet, where they made a Molotov cocktail and threw it at the synagogue in Bloomfield, and it didn't go off, but the FBI got the numbers on his license, and they found his get-up, his makeup that he wore when he threw the Molotov cocktail. So, I mean, all over, every day, swastikas everywhere. You say, well, it can't happen in America. Well, we'll pass laws. No. There'll be no rest for the sole of your feet, and we're experiencing that because we're not doing our job of reaching out and acting as a paradigm, as a model that we should live, so that the rest of the world will observe. It says over there in Exodus 9:16, let my people go that they may serve me throughout the world. Let my people go that they should serve me throughout the world. And what does it mean, serve? How do you serve God? It's by living the life of a observant Jew, following the mitzvahs and commandments. And it's never too late. You know, today is a sad day for a couple of reasons. And I just want to touch on them. That number one, in 1942, February the 24th, although this is being recorded on February 26th, 2023. And what happened in the Danube River, which empties into the Black Sea, there was a boat full of Jewish refugees that boarded on Romania. They boarded on Romania, and they were going to go to the land of Israel, and they got as far as the Black Sea, where the engines and the provisions gave out, and the Turkish authorities would not let them debark, nor would they sell them provisions, nor would they give them any mechanical help. And what they did is they towed this Strom, the boat was called Stroma, S-T-R-O-M, and they towed the boat through the Black Sea to the Aegean Sea, and there a German submarine torpedoed it. And all 800 were killed, except for one person, 19-year-old kid that died in 2014, the only survivor of the Strom. And it's a sad day to think that Turkey, where an earthquake happened and Israel the first one to help and to give assistance to whoever they may be, yet in those years no one helped, no one cared. That was a stroma. But today, in 2023, February 26th, two young brothers in their 20s, one is a naval officer and another studying in a Hester yeshiva, were gunned down by passing through an Arab town. Was stopped and point blank range, they were shot and killed, both of them. And here we have here we have a tragedy that knows no ends. And now with this government, we hope that they will enforce the laws that are so incumbent upon us, because it is our land and it's divinely given. And not that if it was, if a peace was involved, we would certainly give land away. But this was divinely given. In chapter 15 in Exodus, it tells you that it delineates the boundaries of the land. So how are we going to give that away? And you think, look, why did a guy have such animosity towards us? Because they're jealous in a way. Here, the little band of Jews, with God's help, was able to overcome the entire world hatred by claiming the land of Israel, repopulating the land, and going into the land of Judea and Samaria. Now, right now, there's judicial reforms. The judicial reform that is taking place over there in Israel. And what does that mean? It means, you see, you know, it's such a farce. You see, all the years they have a Supreme Court, just like the United States has a Supreme Court, right? And the United States has a Constitution, and based on that Constitution, they can vote on whether a particular law should be upheld or should it be thrown out. And they're appointed by the president in power. Whenever that person, a Supreme Court justice, dies or he is retired, so the president appoints a member, and he goes before the Senate to be ratified. And usually what happens, if it's a Democratic controlled Senate, they'll probably pass. And so that's how you have it in America. I don't know if it's so Democratic in that you know, Sotomayor and she's Puerto Rican, and Kagan, Justice Kagan, a Jewish liberal, and no matter what laws on the books, they'll interpret the Constitution in a liberal manner, and they vote liberal, they vote left all the time. But that's in America. So what happened in Israel, to make it real short, is that the Supreme Court in Israel appoints its own judges. In other words, it's an old boys club that would have 10 or 11 justices, and if one retires, they have a committee and they pick one who is leftist and liberal, and that's why the entire court always runs left. And anything that the Knesset wants to bring up, it's and against the reasonableness of their thinking, it is rejected. And so what happened now is that for the first time, the right wing is in power, and they want to overhaul that system of where the justices appoint one of their kind, Never have they appointed a Sephardic Jew. Always a leftist, liberal judge they appointed. And nobody could do anything about it because the right wing was never in power. Today, they have the right wing, and they, under 11, they want to have a committee of five people who will appoint a judge, and the fifth person is appointed of that committee is appointed by the power that's in power, which is the right wing. So they're all upset. They're all upset. They're demonstrating back and forth. And will you negotiate? The right wing said, well, we'll negotiate. We'll talk about the override clause, and we'll do everything, democratic to see if we can iron out differences. Oh no, they're going to the streets. They say the right wing is a dictatorship, and they're just the opposite. They are the dictators. They are the dictatorship. They just want to have just a very nice, happy-go-lucky type of life, live and drink and walk up Dizengoff Square with a new girlfriend every night. Yeah, that's it. So they're all upset, as if they're going to change the whole world by having a justice of the Supreme Court that is representative of the people. Because if the majority of the people want right wing, then that's what the Supreme Court should be until the people change. And of course they want, in the interim, they want an override clause that the Supreme Court and the Attorney General, who was supported by the last administration for 6 years, that's basically it. So that's judicial reform. But we always have to remember, it's Talmud time. It's time for Talmud time. We love to learn the Talmud. We love it all the time. It's Talmud Torah time. What does the Yiddish song go? It says over there, Olam haba is a good zach. Learning Torah is a better zach. Warte weg, jede joch. Learning Torah, nach. It says, warfe weg, throw away all the yokes that inhibit you to learn. So that's that. So let's learn here. We have to learn it. You pick up a book like this and you say, wow, this is difficult. I can't do that. That's hard. That's difficult. I can't learn that. That's too hard. I don't know how to read Hebrew or anything. But everything is in English today. Let your art school be your rabbi, and we go every week. Every time we're on, we have our session of Talmud, and we're learning the first Mishnah of Barachos. It's called. It says Me'amosai Korin Hashema Bi'arvim. From when to when do we learn? Do we say the Kriya Shema in the evening? Again, we did the first few words, but now we can progress a little bit further. Me'amosa Korin Hashema Be'arvim. From when to when do we able to read the Shema Yisrael of the evening prayer? Because we say the Shema Yisrael in the evening and the Shema Yisrael prayer in the morning, right? So here we go, and it says from when to when. Question, everything's a question. And that's what we would hope your son or daughter can email you every Friday. Forget about the test. Everybody passes, everybody graduates. Yeah, so what it says, from when to when do we say the Shema Yisrael prayer of the evening? In other words, what are the parameters? We could say the Shema Yisrael prayer all the time. But to get credit for saying the Shema Yisrael prayer, we say it in the time slot that we are obligated to fulfill. So that's the question. From when do we read the Shema Yisrael prayer of the evening? So the answer is, it's all in English. It's in Hebrew and English. So the answer is that from the time that the Kohanim enter to eat their truma, from the time that the Kohanim enter to eat their truma, from the time that the Kohanim enter to eat their truma. And that's how, you see, I'm giving you the Mishnah, and then the Gemara, which follows, will elaborate on what the Mishnah says. So right away we are upset in that we're upset because we're looking for, like, what time? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, to 10 o'clock, 7 to 11, but it doesn't give us a set time. But it says a roundabout way. It says from the time that the Kohanim enter to eat their truma. The Kohanim are the priests, right, that take care of the workings of the temple. The portable temple became the temple at Shiloh. It became the temple at Solomon's temple, and later became the temple of Ezra that he built. So yeah, so. From the time that the Kohanim entered to eat their truma. So where were the Kohanim? The Kohanim were tamei. They spiritually unclean, and as a result, they had to stay in a secluded place, away from everyone, till the evening. And in the evening, when the 3 stars come out, that's when they can come out, and they have to go to the mikveh, and then they become tahar, clean. So when is that? When the 3 stars come out. So when the 3 stars come out, teaches us that is evening, and therefore when we go back to the Mishnah, it says when the 3 stars came out, that's when we can begin to say the Shema Yisrael prayer of the evening, when the 3 stars come out, right? So, and then it says, so yeah, Shehakonim Nechnosim enter to eat their truma, and I said, well, why don't you got to talk about truma? What are the Kohanim eating? What is this truma? Truma, right? So the Gemara says it's to teach us things by the way. Teach us things by the way. And that truma was given by everyone to the Kohanim, and they didn't do any work except in the temple, so they didn't have any time to earn money. So if you have 100 bushels of apples, you're given, you take 2 bushels and you give it to a Kohen, any Kohen that you see. That's Truma. And then you have Meiser Rishon. Meiser Rishon is 10% of the remainder goes to the Leviim who assist the Kohanim in their work in the temple. And after that you have Meiser Sheni, which you take to Ola HaRegel, which you go to Yerushalayim 3 times a year with your produce, and you have a feast around your friends and together with God to remember all that He gave to you, and we're giving back just a percentage back to you. 9/10 we keep, but 1/10 goes back to you. So we're aware of that, and we acknowledge that, and that's what we do. That's when we have the temple. Now you could get this book. Oh, it's Art Scrolls, under Art Scrolls, and this is the first Gemara. It's called brachos, blessings, barachos. Or you could order it by mail, 718-921-9000. You can order it, 718-921-9000. And you can order it, and Orsko could be your rabbi. He could be your rebbe. He could be your rabbi over here, yeah. That's it, everybody. So where are we up to? We learned the Talmud a little bit, and we learned that ditty. Olam haba is a good zach. Learning Torah is a better zach. Vafavech yeda yach. Learning Torah, nach. Okay, now where are we? We're going into that subject, and we have the covenant, judicial reform, and we just go on to our cards. You know, they pass laws in America. They have the Taylor law. Taylor, Taylor. He was a general, retired general, several years ago. He made a pleasure trip to Israel and was a tourist. So while he was sitting on a bench, a terrorist came over to him and killed him with a knife, repeatedly killed him in cold blood. And so the Congress and the President passed a law called the Taylor Law. If they continue doing this terrorism, then we will delete monies from the Palestinian Authority. You know, they have it's called UNRWA, right? And basically UNRWA is a section of United Nations, and UNRWA funds the schooling system for the Palestinian refugees. And they're so anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, what I mean anti-Semitic, Arabs are Semites also, that they teach violence and revolution and all kind of evil things to perpetrate against Israel. Last President Trump deleted them, withdrew from that organization because of their bias. Even the United Nations suspended UNRWA's teachings because they were so anti-Jewish. So that's what we have. You know, the Muslims, wherever they are, they want to rule the country. They can't be subservient. And you see what happened in India and many other countries. They have to rule whatever they do. So now we want to bring up the incidences in Ukraine, because Babi Yar is in Ukraine. Babi Yar is in Kiev, right outside of Kiev. And in 3 days, night and day, they murdered thousands of Jews, over 35,000 Jews, men, women, and children. And the witnesses heard this and saw this, and they heard the pitiful cries from babies crying from mother, and that's why they died. Machine gun by Ukrainians in Nazi uniforms. And the witnesses, you look, research Babi Yar, and you'll see that the ones that did this dirty work were Ukrainians. They massacred, killed. And now, who do you have? Nekama, taking justice for all your crimes that you did against the Ukrainian Jews. And who is led? The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, a Jew. but he has no feeling. That people tell me he has no feelings for Judaism. So he's the one that is fighting the Russian giant, and he's sending soldiers. They're in their 60s already, and civilians, like 20, 30, 40,000 have been killed already. But what, they didn't kill the Jews. They didn't kill the Jews. Maybe their forefathers did that, their grandfathers, but they didn't kill the Jews. But those who killed the Jews were not able to reproduce. They're not able to marry and to have families. And that's what happened. It's all from God. And now we see that Poland is, you know, those Poles are so out of it that they're going to lend Ukraine Leopard tanks, you know, these great big tanks and other material. Now Russia's going to see this, and they'll attack the Poles. That's my prediction, or maybe it'll go some other way. But eventually they'll go to the anti-Semitic Baltic countries, Estonia, Lithuania, and and there's another country there, and then they'll work their way into Germany. But they'll get paid back. It says over there in 15:14 in Exodus, the nations who they serve, I will judge. The nations who they serve, I will judge. So Jewish people are a holy people. It says in the Torah, in the 5 books of Moses, that you're a holy people. I have chosen you from all as a treasured nation, from all the nations of the world. Again, you're a holy people. I have chosen you as a treasured nation from all the peoples of the world. It continues. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 7, I believe, right? Chapter 7. Not because you are the largest nation, you're the smallest nation, believes in one God, but because God loves you and because God made a covenant with you. So we went over the 3 covenants, right? We went over the 3 covenants. The covenant of Abraham, right? Where he made a covenant with God, a Kenyan, because God gave him the land. We got the covenant at Mount Sinai, and the covenant before crossing the Jordan River, where it says in 29:64, it says, with these words, I seal the covenant with you, besides the covenant I made with you at Horeb. Horeb is the area where Mount Sinai is. With these words, I seal the covenant with you, and besides the covenant that I made with you in Horeb. Yeah, so, look, I don't know if you like the program or not, but you can, you know, we're on cable on Friday night, Optima Online, channel 18 at 9 o'clock. So you can tell your friends, or you can tell them, Google search Yeshiva Classroom. Under Google search Yeshiva Classroom. So here is the person that we do not admire, and he just since 1982, when Begin came to him and asked for aid, not as a old type Jew that begged for assistance, Biden wouldn't give it to him. Says, we're a proud people. We can exist without your aid. That was Begin against Biden in 1982. Biden's still fighting a lost cause. Yeah, so you know, the United States is dictating, interfering with the laws of a sovereign state, telling them what to do. You know, don't do this, it's not right. International law, all of a sudden they're international law. Jews are being killed, and the world doesn't care. So we have to take care of ourselves. And Mr. Biden, he has to, when he came to Israel, he took off the flag of the United States of America in his limousine that the US 1 has to transport him all over the world. Who invited him? He invites himself. And he took off the Israeli flag, and he put on the Palestinian flag in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. Such disrespect. Such manners that he has. And if anything, he should be interested in his own country, where they stole all the lands, the indigenous lands, from the Indians, from the native Indians. They stole it from them. Why not make some restitution and work with them? Ben and Jerry, they're all over the place over there in Vermont. We don't want the Jewish people to be honest and follow international law. Well, I'll let you know, there's a tribe over there in Vermont. They're called Abel, A-B-E-L. They were driven out by the British to Canada and the French Indian Wars over there. They drove them out of Vermont. Just drove them out, took their land. And Ben and Jerry, the two hypocrites, they're the ones that are the stealing the land from the indigenous tribe of Abel, A-B-E-L. Yeah, so much for that. So yeah, there's about 12 Indian indigenous tribes in the United States, and that's what Israel should fly. That they should fly these flags and not buttonhole them into ghettos, into reservations that they can't get out of. Give them some power. Yes, give them power. Give them power. So there, you have a lot of people that turn your back. I forget how it goes on to turn your back on the atheists and the entertainers and the people who don't believe, but work on your own constitution, which is the Bible, the Torah, and there's an evil inclination that stops you from wanting to learn, to develop a taste, and that should be our goal, to develop a taste for appreciation of learning all aspects of Torah. One aspect you may like better than another, and that's why I recommend to get a general synopsis of all the 24 books of the Bible. Read Behold the People. Behold the People by Rabbi Avigdor Miller. Behold the People by Rabbi Avigdor Miller. It's only about $15. You get it on Amazon. I get all my books at Z. Berman over on Central Avenue. He's very reasonable. Behold a people by Victor A-V-I-G-D-O Miller, right? And yeah, so you have to work, because the Yetzer Hara is the evil inclination will bring you down, and that's the job of the inclination, to get you off the track to Olam Haba in the soul world. God breathed into man the soul through his nostrils. That was the soul. So much for that. And you know, unfortunately, we had so many Jewish individuals that could give over a lot of Torah, and instead they followed their evil inclinations and brought chaos into the world. And three of them are Marx, right? Karl Marx. And everything that they want to do can be found in the Torah. It can be found in the Torah. In other words, Marx wanted equality for everybody. And he didn't want people knocking themselves out running for land and possessions. No, he didn't want that. He wanted everything should be equal, which can't work out in reality because some people are smarter than the others. So, but if he looked into the Torah, he could have found it in Parshas Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha, go out, me'artzecha, from your land. It says go out from your land. It's Karl Marx. It tells you over there in Lech Lecha, go out from your land. Lech Lecha, me'artzecha, maladedecha, from your birthplace. Me'beis avicha, from your father's house. You know, who is this? Freud says you gotta leave your father because he's a bad influence, whatever. So that's what it says over there. He says, go out from your birthplace, from the house of your father. Everything can be found in the Torah. But how do you get people into the Torah? And I have a plan, and I don't want to bring it up over here, but no. Goal is to love to learn Torah. The goal is to love to learn Torah, and you can be very intelligent and knowledgeable if you get the book "Behold the People" by Rabbi Miller, and of course the three drives of man's are happiness, accumulating, and glory. Happiness, and that's what man wants to strive for, to be happy in this world, but doesn't realize that true happiness is in the next world. And that's what he should strive for, to accumulate mitzvahs, good deeds, and that's what he should accumulate. Not money, because you can't take money with you, you know that, but accumulate good deeds, great good deeds, and everything glory. You don't need to get glorified by your fellow man, but you need to be glory to God when He gives it to you, that He acknowledges your fight for Torah. So that's another thing that we should keep in mind. And remember, do the email. Let your son or daughter say, I want you to tell me what you did in school. Tell me an email in your class, in your Jewish studies, of a kasha or terrorist or a thought that you came up with. I don't want to hear report cards or graduation, wasting time walking up and listening to speakers. You're the speaker. Say out loud what you learned. Okay, I think I'm just about out of time. And what is it? The Pirkei Avos says, If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? If not now, when? With these thoughts, I leave you. If you like it, tell it to your friends, to bring out to the atheist the theory of evolution. What a farce that is. You know, take the louse, L-O-U-S-E, louse, that has is able to exude a cement substance that attaches to the hair molecule, and with an hibiscus mouth, he makes a cutting, and then he shoots in an anticoagulant so the blood won't coagulate, and he sucks the blood out. Now, how did that evolve? You could do everything, all kinds of different things, but God made it so that one thing should overlap the other, and there will be a system of everyone being sustained.